Hello and welcome to Track by Track Reviews. With me once again, Sean Duffy. You may have seen him in the MGMT review. If you haven't, then I feel sorry for you. But today we're here to talk about the new Arcade Fire album, The Suburbs. This is their third album, and I believe it just recently hit #1 on several charts.
Yeah, I think it was #1 on Billboard last week.
This band has just exploded. If they were big before, they're twice as big now. I think this is kind of a love or hate band. For some reason, a lot of people really hate this band. Maybe it's like the Wayne Coyne comments about their dicks, so fuck them. I don't know. A lot of people seem to think they're assholes or pretentious or something. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. I care about the music, and so far they've put out some really solid albums. I'd say their first album is probably my favorite.
Definitely my favorite.
And this is kind of a concept album.
You can't really listen to it without getting the concept thrown at you, which I think some people are either gonna love it, the song hate it, because if you like the concept, it's great, and if you don't, well, it sucks.
Yeah, Arcade Fire really invites you to listen to the lyrics. Like, they want you to hear every word they're saying, and I think you'll get a lot more out of the album if you really, you know, if you can't understand what they're saying, look up the lyrics and follow along, because that's kind of what they want you to hear, I think. I think the first track, The Suburbs, going straight into it, Arcade Fire is very dramatic. And this song, when you hear that piano and the bass, isn't dramatic at all. Like, I thought it was very laid back.
Something interesting about this song it introduces, and it's kind of in the whole record, is actually very heavy on textures with the string.
Exactly.
Which, a lot of things people didn't like about Neon Bible was that it was really heavy on orchestration at times. And I think what they did here is they really used it more for texture.
I mean, I kind of like how they start off with that sort of laid-back approach, and then the strings and the vocals come in, and it's back to things you recognize about Arcade Fire.
And then it just jumps into the second track, really very Arcade Fire-y.
I really like this song.
I think the first line is, if the businessmen drink my blood like the Narcos said they would. And I think it's a lot of that's like, all the lyrics seem to be like, he's one butler, and he's saying basically that I don't want to like say this just to, like, give in, or it's kind of like loneliness versus conformity. He doesn't want to conform at the same time, but he'd rather stand alone and with the ideas he likes, and then stand together with once he doesn't.
They really pound out the chorus a bunch, and I think it's a really good chorus. Yeah. I think one of the problems with some of the songs on the album is they repeat the chorus a bunch, and the chorus isn't as strong as I would like it to be, but here I really like the chorus, so them singing it a bunch doesn't bother me at all, because it's great.
Modern Man, which I actually, like, the first time I listened to, it didn't really hit me. It's actually probably one of my favorite songs.
Really? I'm probably kind of where you were then, because it didn't really do a whole lot for me. It just seems so simple to me. I don't know, it just doesn't seem like there's
I think
much
it
going
like
on.
comes off as really simple, but once I read into the lyrics more, it kind of made more sense to me.
I actually think this is one of the examples where the chorus is drilled into you, where I wasn't really crazy about the chorus.
One of the things he repeats on the song lyrically wise is waiting. In a line for a number you don't understand. That's why we're still waiting, and like kind of contrasting that is wasting.
Like, when we're young, we're wasting time, and we're still kind of doing that. Like, we keep waiting and waiting, and then we're growing up and we're still doing the same thing. Like, Rococo. I really like this song. I think the string hook is really good.
When I first heard the song, it kind of reminded me almost of the very start to the sound very singly, but the lyrics kind of just like made no effect on me, because like, yeah, it's kind of catchy, but it's just Rococo.
Yeah.
But over time, I liked it more.
There was one interesting thing that someone pointed out on songmeanings.com. They build it up just to burn it back down. I think he repeats that a couple times. And someone was like, maybe that could be referring to Arcade Fire themselves, how fans have built up Arcade Fire, and then once Arcade Fire is built up and all popular, they want nothing to do with them, because, oh, they're all big now, and we're hip kids, so we can't like that, so we're just going to burn it back down. I thought that was kind of interesting.
I never thought that way.
Okay, the next song, Empty Room.
It's probably my least favorite track. I don't hate it, but it just makes very little impression on me. I've listened to it a lot, and one thing that seems to be in this track is the strings are actually the main thing in the song as opposed to the guitars or something.
I don't know, I find myself forgetting about this song when I go back and look at the album as a whole, but I'd say the best thing about it probably is the strings. It grabs you right from the beginning, and then, I don't know, it's not like a horribly long song, so they're going to lose you. I think it's like 2.5 minutes or something, so.
It's short.
Yeah. City with No Children. What do you think of City with No Children? Because I really liked it. I liked the lyrics.
Yeah, I liked it. It's, the one I really liked was, do you think your righteousness can pay the interest on your debt? And I think a lot of the time it's kind of like youth versus adults.
I think the lyrics in the song are very strong.
Yeah.
And I'd say my favorite is probably, you never trust a millionaire, quoting the Sermon on the Mount. I used to think I was not like them, but I'm getting to have my doubts.
Yeah.
I just think that's a really good line, and it sort of makes you, as you're growing up, you're like, I'm not one of those guys, and then as you grow up, you realize, like, am I one of those guys? Did I turn into what I used to hate? Like, I think it's an interesting thought.
The next song is Half-Life 1.
Half-Life 1, I really like this song because I always remember what it's about. I don't really remember the music as much as what I remember it's about. It seems to be about parents like protecting their children from the world, and the kids just sort of trying to escape that protection and slowly discovering things about the world for themselves.
Yeah. I think I like the meaning more in Half-Life 1 than Half-Life 2, but I like the music of Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
It's more interesting to me. Because Half-Life 1's, I believe
It's very slow.
Yeah, it's slow, and it almost sounds like something that could have been like a old single from the 60s. That's what it came to me. And then you have Half-Life 2, which has this huge synth part in it.
Yeah. Okay, I kind of wrote at Half-Life 2 that it's kind of forgettable, and I guess that's kind of true because I couldn't remember it. I don't know, it's not a bad song or anything, but I think one of the things to point out about it is the electronic side of this album, which I think shows up again, definitely shows up again in Sprawl 2, which you don't really see much from Arcade Fire, but they have kind of brought into this album. The next song is Suburban War, and hear me out now. For that first millisecond, it reminds me of Adam's Song by Blink-182. But yeah, Suburban War is one of my favorite songs on the album. Not as good as Adam's Song by Blink-182, but no. But it's just a really good song. It pretty much seems to be about moving away from home and fighting it and growing apart from everything back home.
One of the lines that I really liked, now the music divides us into tribes, you grew your hair so I grew mine.
Yeah.
And then later in the song it says,
you cut your hair, you left me.
And I think it's kind of like he comes back and sees that his friends are becoming what they always hated when they were teenagers and whatnot.
It's a really pretty song, and there's also this really great shift about 2 minutes in, whereas some of these songs sort of like stuck to their guns, just kind of stayed there. I like how this had that really great shift about 2 minutes in, and then it really gets intense towards the end too. It just explodes. Okay, the next song, Month of May, is a single, but it's probably one of my least favorite songs on the album.
I first heard this song when the single with Suburbs on it as well, like leaked, and I was not impressed that much by Month of May. I thought Suburbs was 10 times better than this song.
Yeah.
But I've actually grown to really like this song. It's probably one of my favorite tracks.
Wow.
One thing I really think, if the song was just the music and no vocals, I would not be impressed, but I like how the vocals, how they come, like at certain parts they'll start echoing off each other. It's really cool. And I don't know, it's catchy.
I don't know, just the second this song opens, I'm like, I'm not gonna like this, and by the time it's over, it's like, I didn't like that. Like, it opens up sounding like a punk song. Like, that's what I really thought about it. It's like a punk rock song, and lyrically, compared to the other songs on this album, I feel like it's pretty weak, and instrumentally, it's just kind of really, really simple. The next song, Wasted Hours, we kind of talked about that theme of suburban kids just sitting in their houses, just sitting, wasting time, and
doing reviews.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid shit. Yeah, it's kind of true. Yeah, I like Wasted Hours. I wouldn't say it's a standout or anything, but it's a good song. It's a good song. The next song, Deep Blue, sort of brings back that piano, and it sort of brings back that upbeat mood with a less than upbeat song.
For me, so this song just kind of seems like childhood memories kind of fading away almost. So yeah,
Yeah, and I like the chorus of the La La La's, but once again, not a stand-up track, but it's a nice song. The next song, We Used to Wait, I almost said Month of May, is the next single on the album, and I think it's a pretty good song, and it's better than the other single, Month of May, for sure, I think. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes! Score, yes, agreement. There's some lyric that talks about, we used to wait for letters from loved ones, and it's I think sort of pointing out that we move so much faster nowadays, it's just, we want everything now. And while I think that's true, I don't know if that's necessarily a good or bad thing. Because I mean, before those letters, people had to actually walk to you and tell you something. So I mean, who knows if it's good or bad, but I mean, whatever. It's a good song, and the chorus, once again, I didn't really like the chorus that much, and it's repeated several times.
The line that stood out most to me was something so small can keep you alive, which doesn't really go on about that, but I think it's I guess something like a letter can be very personal, and like just having the actual letter and having someone actually written it to you is much more meaningful than someone typing you an email.
Typing on your Facebook wall. The next song, Sprawl One Flatland, it's a good song to me. But really, I kind of just like skip to this song to get to Sprawl 2. I like the strings in this song, once again, tip of the cap to own palette, but I just love Sprawl 2 so much more.
I can't really like
move on from this song.
About this song is actually the lyrics are very like descriptive. I can literally have, at one part in the second verse or something, they get pulled over by the cops or something on their bikes.
Oh yeah.
Kids or whatever.
Like where do you live?
Yeah, where do you kids live? And I just couldn't like really picture in my head well.
Yeah, the next song, Sprawl 2, Mountains Beyond Mountains, is
definitely a highlight.
Yeah, I really like this song, and surprisingly so, because it's very 80s,
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily a decade that I like. But there's like the electronic drum beat and the synths everywhere, and even the singing.
Very.
Yeah, it reminds me of Blondie's song Heart of Glass, you know? Yeah, it actually reminds me of that song, except I like this song. Every melody from the verse to chorus is great, and it's got a lot of energy, and it's just a good song. I think it's one of the best songs on the album. Yeah, the last song of the album, The Suburbs, continued. Brings back one of the verses from The Suburbs. I think is it the opening line? Yeah.
Really nice strings in that.
Yeah, really pretty strings, and I don't know, I think it's a good way to close. Final thought?
One thing I really like about Arcade Fire is they have a really distinct sound, but all their albums sound different. And like they sound like it's Arcade Fire, like I know it's Arcade Fire, but they all have like, oh yeah, this song's totally off Neon Bible or something. Mm-hmm. Or this song's off Female, this song's off The Suburbs. They all have like really distinct feel to it, and especially The Suburbs when they have more synths and whatnot. Overall, I really like the concept of the album, so I love concept albums, so I was immediately drawn to it. While there are a lot of songs here, I think they all kind of work, and there's not one I would say I hate. I think, and they all work together well. I really like the lyrics of all the songs, and just a strong album for me. I'm giving this album a 9 out of 10.
Arcade Fire, for me, has always been a band that I thought was really, really good, but I've never quite like fallen really hard for. Like some of their songs I'll just absolutely love, and this album is no exception. There's like 3 or 4 songs that I really, really like, and then there's just other songs like Month of May or Empty Room that I'm just kind of like, I could take this or leave it, or I could really leave it. Overall, I really like the strings. I sort of like how they brought in the electronics, and I think the electronics and the theme and everything worked really well. But I still can't find myself loving this band, despite some really good lyrics in some songs. I could understand both sides, hating or loving this band. I just sort of stay in between. I give this album a 7 out of 10. So yeah, once again, Arcade Fire with their third album, The Suburbs. Go check it out. It's on Merge Records. And for Sean Duffy, I'm Rory Sullivan with Track by Track Reviews. See you next week.